I once had 2 job interviews lined up in North Carolina. A big deal for me because at the time, I was living in New York and stuck in a job that I absolutely hated. It was one of those dead-end corporate gigs where the work drained you. The pay barely covered the bills, and the future looked bleak. These interviews represented a real chance to turn my life around. Better salary, solid benefits, and a fresh start in a place with much nicer weather. The thought of escaping the cold, gray winters of New York for something warmer was a huge motivator. I decided to drive down instead of flying to save money, even though it meant a grueling 8+ hour trip. I left work on a Thursday evening, exhausted but determined. After clocking out, I rushed home to grab my suitcase and a few essentials. I said goodbye to my family, who wished me luck, but looked worried about the long drive ahead. I was nervous too, but mostly excited about the possibilities. The drive started off okay. I stopped at a Comfort Inn along the way to stretch and grabbed a few cups of coffee to keep myself alert. The caffeine helped for a while, but I was already running on fumes. I hadn't slept well the night before, my mind racing with thoughts about the interviews. Would I mess up? Would I make a good impression? The stress was gnawing at me. As I drove through the night, the roads grew emptier and the darkness thicker. The highway stretched out like a ribbon of black, lit only by my headlights and the occasional street lamp. Around midnight, I started feeling the first real waves of exhaustion. My eyelids grew heavy, and no matter how much coffee I drank, the fatigue was relentless. Then something strange happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure standing on the side of the highway, a man in a suit perfectly still facing my car. It was surreal. Why would someone be standing there, in the middle of nowhere at this hour, dressed like he was heading to a board meeting? As I passed, I caught his face turning to follow my car. I muttered, "What the hell?" under my breath, a chill running down my spine. I almost considered turning around to ask if he needed help, but something about the situation felt off. To keep my mind occupied and stave off sleep, I started inventing stories. Maybe he'd been kicked out of a car by a girlfriend. Or maybe he was waiting for a ride that never came. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how tired I was. My brain was grasping at anything to stay awake. Just 10 minutes later, I saw another man in a suit standing on the side of the road. Same posture, same eerie stillness. My heart pounded. I slowed down, thinking maybe I should pull over and check if they were okay. But as I glanced in the rearview mirror, the man vanished. No sign of him anywhere. It was like he disappeared into thin air. Panic started to set in. I pressed the gas pedal harder, desperate to put distance between me and whatever was happening. I needed to stop for more coffee, so I pulled into the next rest area I could find. I bought a medium coffee and sat in the parking lot, trying to calm my racing heart. Then I saw him again, the same man, standing under a light post, staring directly at my car. This time I got a clear look. Middle-aged, short dark hair, clean-shaven, with a neutral but unsettling expression. The way he faced me, unblinking, sent a wave of pure fear through me. I started the car and left immediately, not daring to look back. I was exhausted beyond words, but too scared to sleep. I pulled off the highway into a random parking lot, reclined my seat and tried to rest. But every time I closed my eyes, I imagined that man appearing in the shadows. Just as I was drifting off, I woke up suddenly and looked around. The lot was empty until I glanced in the rearview mirror and saw a figure in the back seat. I screamed, threw open the door and scrambled out, heart pounding. The back seat was empty. It hit me then. My mind was playing tricks on me. The stress, the lack of sleep, the pressure of the interviews, it all combined to create terrifying hallucinations. I finished my coffee, took a few deep breaths, and forced myself back on the road. The next day I was still tired but somewhat recharged. My first interview was at 11 a.m. When the interviewer walked in, I froze. He looked exactly like the man I'd been hallucinating all night. I could feel my nerves unraveling, and I'm sure he noticed. The interview didn't go well. I was distracted out of it, like I was trapped in a dream I couldn't wake from. I had only an hour before my second interview. This time, the interviewer was a woman. and I managed to pull myself together. I did much better and ended up getting the job. I still live in North Carolina now. Looking back, my therapist told me the hallucinations were caused by the intense stress and sleep deprivation. She said my brain had fixated on the image of the man in a suit, because that's who I expected to be interviewing me. It makes sense, but it doesn't make the experience any less terrifying. That night on the highway was one of the most surreal and frightening experiences of my life. It taught me how powerful the mind can be when pushed to its limits, and how important it is to take care of yourself, especially when facing big life changes. After that trip, I realized just how much stress and exhaustion can warp your perception of reality. I had always thought I was pretty tough, able to handle whatever life threw at me, but that night shattered that illusion. It was a wake-up call that no matter how determined or focused you are, your body and mind have limits, and ignoring them can lead to dangerous consequences. In the weeks that followed, I made a conscious effort to prioritize my health. I started going to bed earlier, eating better, and carving out time to relax and decompress. The job I landed in North Carolina was demanding, but I knew I had to find balance if I wanted to succeed and stay sane. The hallucinations never came back, but the memory of that night stayed with me. Sometimes when I'm driving late at night or feeling overwhelmed, I think back to that man in the suit and the fear that gripped me. It reminds me to slow down, breathe, and not let stress consume me. I also learned to trust my instincts more. That night, my gut told me something was off, even if I couldn't explain it. Whether it was the hallucinations or just a heightened sense of awareness, it saved me from making a dangerous decision. Since then, I've paid closer attention to those little signals my body and mind send me. Looking back, I'm grateful for that terrifying experience because it forced me to confront my limits and take better care of myself. It also gave me a story to tell, a reminder that even in our darkest, most confusing moments, we can find strength and clarity. Now, whenever I face a big challenge or feel overwhelmed, I remember that night on the highway. It's a part of my journey, a chapter that shaped who I am today. And while I hope never to experience anything like it again, I know I'm stronger because of it.